All right, so my story, I guess. I was homeschooled. I've lived in, I think it's now like 6 different states, but most of those states were when I was younger. A lot of it was my parents' work and schooling and everything. My dad was in the military. So it's kind of the big decision of why I was homeschooled. Um, so I was homeschooled from 3rd grade up until senior year. I did a lot of community college classes though in high school, so I was socialized, crazy enough. Um, did a lot of sports. But my dad's a doctor, my mom's a PT, physical therapist, and but they both actually were physical therapists. My dad went back to school. So anyways, like healthcare was huge in my family. And actually one of the big things I told myself was I never want to be a physical therapist. Like the probably up until my sophomore year of college. Um, and I actually wrote that in one of uh my essays. My like literally like the first sentence was like I never want to be a physical therapist. And guess what? I'm a physical therapist now. But so yeah, that's my journey. So how I got there though, I wanted to be in healthcare. So I want to be an MD, a doctor. I mean, I guess I'm a doctor of physical therapy, but um, I was thinking like pediatrician basically. And so I was pre-med going into college, like up until literally like beginning of my junior year of college, which is crazy. I was studying for the MCAT and I just was like, I don't think it'd be a bad decision if I became a doctor. I feel like I would find a way. I would love it. I would love like my decision to do that, but I just like realized what my goals were in life, and that was that I have so many different aspirations. Like I want to have a business one day. Like I want to be in healthcare. I want to be a mom. Like I have so many things I want to do, and I just felt like I would be doing myself a disservice if I did medical school for 7+ years and I ended up not being a doctor for the rest of my life, to be completely honest, because I knew that was going to happen. Like I would be in school for that many years and then I would be a doctor for like what, 5 years, and then I would probably find another interest. Like honestly, so I just knew that wasn't probably what I would. I felt like I just wouldn't be worth it to me. So I decided like, okay, I'm gonna look into PT. Even though I literally told myself I wasn't gonna be a PT, not because I hated PTs. Like I freaking love it. Like I feel like they are one of the least valued like healthcare like any profession really because like and I mean, they prioritize health, rehab, like trying to prevent injury, trying to prevent people from going to the hospital, basically. Um, and it's not valued enough in this day and age, to be completely honest. It's not. I loved what physical therapy stood for, but it was just because my parents did it, and everyone was like, "Oh, so you're gonna be a PT like your mom and dad?" And I was like, "Shut up." um. So, anyways, yeah. So I ended up just shadowing, getting hours, and I was like, yeah, no, like I really think this is like the way to go because I mean, still a lot of schooling, but but I do get my doctorate. I get that flexibility where I can still be a mom and I can like teach online one day because I have my doctorate. But I also like am doing something that I'm like truly passionate about, which is like health and again, staying out of the hospital as much as possible, preventing injuries, just being in athletics my entire life. So that's like a day that's like a normal story for most physical therapists. And also people like anytime I mention it, they were like, "Yeah, you're built for physical therapy." I don't know, couldn't tell you why. um, but anyways, so yeah, I decided junior year I switched to pre-physical therapy. Thankfully, like the prereqs that I took like all throughout college were pretty much like I did with pre-med. So and then I got into Northern Arizona University, which is where my family is from, Flagstaff now. I mean, we moved there about like 10 years ago. Um, and so I and I loved it. Like, I do not regret my decision at all. I just graduated, like, 2 weeks ago, which is crazy, and so now applying for jobs and everything and, moving to Nashville. And so, but I think I mean, that was a really long story of, not wanting a career for so long and then ending up in that career, like, 4 years later is crazy. Um, but I think, like, my biggest piece of advice for choosing something like that is that I could have chosen to be an MD, like, and I think I would have found a lot of joy and happiness, and it would have been great. And so but I decided like, I made another choice to be a PT because I just felt like that was gonna fulfill me the most later in life because I would have that flexibility. I wouldn't be in school as long, but I would still have that, job security, um, and something that I'm actually passionate about. But when you're choosing your career or you're gonna have so many choices in life, who you're gonna marry, career, like, are you gonna have children, a church, like, so many things that you're gonna, like, have to choose in life. Just be confident about the decision you choose because, like, you're gonna make bad decisions, you're gonna make good decisions, but in the end, I think, like, sometimes we're in this focus. I'm a Christian, and so sometimes I feel like you're told, like, whatever God has planned for you, right? And if you're not a Christian, this can also apply to you because, like, I feel like in the society, it's like, this is the right decision, like, choose this, this is the way to go. Like, so many people are gonna tell you those things. However, like, I feel like there's multiple good decisions that you can make, and you're just gonna have to choose one. So, like, for me, it was like I just ended up having to, like, just full send it and choose physical therapy. There's pros and cons to it for sure. But just be confident in that decision because in the end, you're gonna choose it, you're gonna be in it, and are you gonna choose joy? Are you gonna choose happiness? Or are you gonna just kind of, like, wallow in it and be like, "Man, I should," like, I could sit here and be like, "I should have gone to medical school." Um, but I'm not because, like, I'm really happy with my decision, and I'm, like, happy with all the pros, and I, like, deal with all the cons, basically. So, um, that's, like, my biggest, like, piece of advice if I had to give anyone, is just, like, be confident in the choices you make because 'cause you're gonna have to make them, and you're gonna make bad ones again, you're gonna make good ones, but just be confident in it. Um, and, so anyways, what else? I think what was I going for? Oh, where do I see myself in, 5 years? Josh just gives me so many questions, I just had to remember. So, um, but where do I see myself in 5 years? Again, it was the choices I made, and so I don't know where I will be, but I do know that, I want to hopefully be married, and, whether or not that is I have children or not, like, that again, like, I don't know. I would love to at least one day. But I just wanna be content in the decision I made in my career and in my relationship, and I'm hopeful that's, like, where I'm gonna be because again, that's a choice. Um, but I hopefully will have traveled a lot more, um, because my boyfriend at the time now, like, we're thinking about, like, the future and, like, when we get married, like, where we're gonna move to and everything, like, our parents are pretty spread out, and so but I do know that, like, I wanna travel, I wanna explore because 'cause we're young. I mean, I think we're told, like I'm 24 now, and at times, like, when you're surrounded by it, you're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm, like, getting so old." But, we're still so young, and there's so much world to see, and I feel like so many things to learn, so many people to meet. Um, and if you have the opportunity to travel, I think you should. Even if that's like a permanent thing where you live there for 2 years, or even if it's just like a week-long trip, I think you should travel. Just take that opportunity. Um, because in the end, like, life is made of memories. Like, you're gonna keep on moving on, but what are you gonna do? You're gonna look back. And I don't wanna look back and be like, "Ah, I should have done this." I don't wanna look back with regret. I wanna look back and be like, "That was, like, amazing." Like, I learned so much. Um, and, like, that's why I take a lot of pictures because I wanna look back and because I have, like, memory of Dory, quite literally. Like, I will be like, "What did I do, like, 3 years ago?" So, like, I wanna look back and, like, look at those pictures and be like, "Oh my gosh, like, we went here," or "We saw this person," or "My friend's little baby was born this time," like, so many things. There's so many things to be happy about. Um, and so that's kinda where I wanna be in 5 years, is, like, I look back and I'm like, wow, I'm like really happy like the journey we did together, and like obviously with my boyfriend, hopefully husband. Um, um, so anyways, yeah, that's my life. I mean, there's a lot more to it, but hopefully that's helpful. Oh, I guess if you are wanting to be a physical therapist, um, specifically, because I kind of just talked about like career choices and like just make the choice that feels good at the moment and just be confident in it. But if you are wanting to be a physical therapist, things I would note is that it is a hard profession. It is a profession that is not valued as much as it should be. Um, however, you like if you feel passionate about um, the the values in physical therapy and like that's what you like thrive on, that's like what you like gives you life, then you should choose it because like I just think like when you are with people, like there are so many moments that I'm working with patients and I'm like, wow, like I wish everyone can feel this moment when you get a person to walk for the first time or get a baby to roll for the first time, whatever you're in, or like sports wise. I mean, like ACL, like that, like ruins careers, you know. But with PT, proper PT, you can get back to it. Like just seeing like the like patients' eyes light up, that is what I love the most about it. And so you just need to focus on those moments because there's so much that you can focus on terrible wise in PT, just in terms of like the value, compensation. Um, it's easy to get really kind of locked up into that. But, anyways, so that's kind of like my biggest suggestion if you're thinking physical therapy.